I believe we're popular because we play what our fans want to hear. Our fans don't want us to be anything other than Slayer. I don't want to be anything other than Slayer.
This is definitely Slayer. Music-wise, creative-wise, it's more based around the style of Kerry's writing.
I had to write 90% of the entire record musically and lyrically. Usually Jeff's got something, and there's no Jeff this time.
Kerry has a knack for just fast, heavy shit. He can write slow, medium-paced stuff and heavy stuff, which he did, but he tends to lean more to, just in-your-face shit. So it's iconic Slayer. You listen to it and go, that's Slayer. It's going to be Slayer. Then you throw my pipes in there, and then it becomes, okay, this is Slayer.
So is it just me? Can everyone see the world drowning in its own blood? Humanity's decline, dismantled over time, a fossil drying in the mud. Deception and the greed that germinates the seeds of dissent, growing all around. Is this beginning or the end? In darkness we descend, and I can't wait to see it all go down.
No one's going to be disappointed with what we've done.
Standing room, only all the world will attend. Front row standard to the ultimate end. Mankind constantly parading its flaws. Tangled in charades of the orthodox laws. Like a firestorm raging out of control. Ignorance of all has taken its toll. Seems that blame is your personal hell. Dish it out to anyone but never yourself. And blow! No resurrection of the void! And blow! Extermination of the swine! Sick of this shit called policy. Lots of poor for a dead economy. Brain dead leaders of the world conspire. Acting with malice only fuels the fire. No wonder people are religion obsessed. Only wants a man to do some best.
Kerry writes stuff, Jeff would write stuff, and then together they would write stuff.
So we have one of his songs that was done, when did we do that one? Sometime in the last few years. But it's called Piano Wire, and Tom went in and re-sang it. I think we recorded it with the last album, and it just wasn't used. So Tom, it's that point in the session where you're just trying to finish things and seeing if you like it, and Piano Wire didn't really get its what it deserves. So this time, we basically kept the tracks, had Paul play drums to it, and had Tom re-sing it. So it's a complete tune.
God's here and now. Raise the flag as it burns. Nation blood will not be lost.
A lot of the stuff was pinned by Kerry, and a lot of his topics are usually more religious oriented. He's got a few topics about, I guess, human behavior.
The difficult thing was getting topics that I could talk about, write about, bitch about, and have them not sound the same. That's a hard thing because you only got one person's perspective as opposed to mine, Jeff's, and Tom's, which come from three different angles.
But his theme is basically around religious themes. I helped maybe iron out some of the wrinkles of some of the songs that I felt that some of the songs felt needed.
That was the hardest thing, but I tried not to think about that as much and just either get a couple cool lines in a chorus, a couple cool lines in a verse, a cool title, and just marry that title to the song that it fits, and just go from there.
One of the songs is called Vices. You know what I mean? So that has that song is based around you know, how social vices that people have and how people are.
Stop and think of society's impotence and the reason behind its incompetence. Facing God is to fight, break under tyranny. What belongs to you, find the real irony. Life drags on and we watch it bleed. Of controversy and madness we feed into rust. You can't deny. A little violence is the ultimate drug. Let's get high.
Everybody's got a vice. Everybody's got a crutch that for a lot of people it's religion, of all things. But, you know, drugs, alcohol, women, whatever. That's where I came from with Vices. That's going to be a really cool song to play live. I would play any of these songs live. It's pretty cool.
Controversy and madness we feed into rust. You can't deny. A little violence is the ultimate drug. Let's get high.
I actually wrote some lyrics on the road. I took it upon myself to do something I don't do. There was one time, it's either last summer or the summer, I think it's the summer prior. We had 3 days off in Athens before, like, we lost a show in Turkey because of, you know, political unrest and stuff. So we went straight to Greece, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna use this time to write a song. And that's why I wrote Cast the First Stone, the whole tune. I finished it in Greece. So if we ever play Greece and we play that song, I'm sure they're gonna like it better because I wrote it there.
Cast the First Stone probably for me might be things that for myself I like the best. But I focus more on the things I'm not happy with sometimes, so that's my problem.
And then, you know, on top of that, we got Paul. You know, Paul is like the only other drummer that we've ever had, other than what happened with Mr. Lombardo.
I was in Slayer a couple times, yeah. Yeah.
You will pay.
The funny thing about Paul is if Paul never quit the band, he would still be here.
Oh, if he hadn't quit the band, then he would. Yeah, it wouldn't. Yeah, he would still be in the band.
You know, nobody ever had a problem with Paul, and I still don't know if I know the reasons why he left the first 2 times.
I don't think there's really any other drummer that can replace anybody like Paul can. So when he came in, I mean, when he first joined the group, we sat with him for about almost 2 years, just going over Slayer material, so we can get a groove and a vibe for the songs that we have played, we've written. And then in that process, that's when they started working on Divine Intervention.
The magnifying glass looking at me was so big. I mean, I'll give you an example. I was at a show in Hollywood right after I joined the band in '92, and there was some guy who recognized me. This was before the internet or anything, and he was standing with his girlfriend. He walked up to me, some big guy, and he's kind of looking at me up and down, like, you know, okay, sizing me up. And he's like, "So, I hear you're the new drummer." And I'm like, "Yeah, you know." And he kind of like looks at me up and down, takes his hand and squeezes my bicep, looks at me, just does one of these things and walks away. And I'm like, "Oh, that wasn't weird," you know. So I'm like, okay, this is that kind of encompasses kind of what I thought the overall attitude about me coming into the band was going to be at that time. So Divine, for me, if I had to compare it to any other record, it'd be probably almost impossible because I had everything to prove then.
But this last time, when Dave threw out the internet bomb and we're on a plane for 14 hours and can't respond to it, I land in wherever the hell we were in Australia, about as far as I can fly anywhere, you know, and not be able to respond to something. And then it's taken on a life of its own, so then you just don't respond to it because what's the point?
When things were going on, you know, that was pick up the phone, said, "Dude, we should call Paul back." You know.
The first text I got, a number of texts, but the first text was from Paul Bostaph, and I went, that's odd. And then I saw like a laundry list of people. I'm like, Dave must have said something. And, you know, Paul was offering up his services, and I laughed out loud. I'm like, why would I have a guy back in my band that's quit twice? It just didn't make sense to me. Even though Paul has always been a friend of mine, I got nothing against Paul. It just seemed odd.
We had a little roundabout between us, between the three of us. And I told him, I said, I really think we should have Paul back, because it's not somebody new. It's not someone that we have to work with. There's someone that sat in the band.
But we pursued it. We got back from Australia. I did demos with John Deddy. I did demos with Paul. The same 2 songs under the same circumstances. They each had like 24 to 36 hours to learn them and just see where it went. And Tom and Jeff both decided Paul, and in hindsight, that was the right choice.
Oh, it took 3 seconds. You know, when they asked me if I was interested again, absolutely.
I'm glad he's back, though, because that makes life easy for everybody, you know, as opposed to having to try to work with someone that we've never worked with. He's a familiar face. Everybody knows Paul, and Paul was a member.
I mean, stylistically, things have changed for me. The priorities in which I was trying to achieve certain things, but one thing remains the same. It's got to be Slayer. I'm endorsed by Yamaha drums, Paiste cymbals, Remo drum heads, and Vader drumsticks. In the studio, I typically do things different in the studio than I do live. I have a live drum set. My particular live drum set that I used on the last album cycle was a Yamaha Oak Custom. In the recording studio, I went for something different because I wanted the sound to be different in the studio.
So what? I wouldn't have it any other way.
instead of using the Oaks, I used Yamaha recording customs, which are bird shells, and I used the Maple Hybrid bass drums. For snares, we typically try a bunch of different stuff that works. I always bring my live snare in to see how it sounds in the studio with whatever we're trying to do. But I find that every session has its own life, and I think that instead of trying to force just my sound into it, I want the sound that we find exciting. At the moment, whatever it's just there's a spirit of what you're trying to get at that moment, and I think that the snare drum, especially for me, is probably to me one of the most important parts of a kit. It's the identity of a drummer. It's the identity of the drum set. So we spend time, looking for that, or one or two sounds that we can intersperse in between slower or faster songs, or it just gives each song a different kind of vibe.
Just you! You're just you!
You, which I figured out immediately what it was about it, and I'll have to let Kerry explain that one because I don't know he can let the cat out of the bag. I'm not going to.
You Against You. I mean, I'm sure I can lay it out on the line and say what it's about, but I write things in a way that it can hit people in any form of life. You get in a fight with your best friend, and your best friend may not be firing on all cylinders, and you're right, and you're just sitting here watching him disintegrate, and that's basically what You Against You is about.
I've never worked with Terry Date before. So when I found out we had Terry Date slotted to produce the record, I was very excited about it because Terry has worked on some legendary albums. I mean, some of my favorite heavy metal albums ever.
And I knew that he had done Pantera stuff, and then they're like, well, he's done other stuff, and then they gave me, they sent a roster of a list of stuff that he'd done. I'm like, he did that record, he did this record. I'm like, wow.
For me, it's basically based on respect. Because if I don't respect somebody, you're not going to talk me into playing something that I think sounds fine anyway. And like I said, me and Terry hit it off.
He's kind of like, he'll listen and he'll tell you whether he likes it or not. Me being a singer, I need something like that can tell me, and they'll go like, that sounded great. As opposed to having someone tell you how to do something that you've done for 30 years. You know what I mean? So I really like working with him because he was so cool with that.
It just doesn't have quite the right pocket or something. But we'll get the choruses first, then we'll come back to those, unless you want to do it different. But
first time I ever worked with him, so I thought he'd be this stern taskmaster, And he would just you just look at me and as long as the vibe was cool, he didn't care. And sometimes though I need direction, otherwise I'll keep doing something over and over, even if I had a really good one already.
We'll tackle this in two parts because I never thought I was soloing over the other part, so I never really gave that a thought. So.
okay.
Whenever I try ideas, you're never really sure about shit you do. You just do it and then thinking, wow, that sounded cool. What do you think of that? Because he'll tell let's try another one. Let's try it again. I kind of hear what you're trying to do. Just do it again and see if you can come up with something. Or he'll say, nah, just stick with what you were doing. He would guide me, which is what he's supposed to do, which is awesome. So a lot of the stuff came out fucking awesome because of him. So.
Now, there's some timing maybe down in here, like you were just a little bit off the beat a little bit, just not quite on it, but.
I don't want to be a producer. When I'm done doing this, I don't want to produce because I don't have the patience for it. You know, I just don't want to get involved in that. And that's what we hire a person like Terry Date for. That's his job in my book. And he did it well. At the end of the day, the final mixes, the drums sound great on their own. The guitars sound great on their own. Tom sounds great vocally on his own. So together, it's just pretty devastating. I think it came out better than I could have imagined. Did I do something different in the studio with my rig? No. I might have used different heads, but they're the same heads, just maybe different ones. And the reason being is because we had our main A rig out, you know, for some random shows while we recorded, which is usually something we don't do. So rather than ship my A rig everywhere when it doesn't have to be there, I just used some that was still my signature heads. I think I just ran one into 2 cabinets, which I think in the past I might have used more. But I mean, essentially it's the same sound. Guitars, I did have my main guitars because I could travel with those. Like, I have 3 main guitars live, and that's what was in the studio. For the B tunings, I had my stage guitar at the studio as well. So everything was, you know, derivative of what I play live. And then when I switched to the second rhythm guitar, I would change guitars so it sounded different.
But they did set up Lemmy's Marshall series stack that they came out for. We used that, and then we used the P bass, ESP P bass. That's how we do it. That's about it. There ain't really much. You know, you put up a bass plate, figure out which one you really like, and the P bass was the one that they liked, that style. So we used that one, and then if the sound wasn't quite right coming out of the bass amp, then they throw in the guitar amp sound and try to blend it in and blend sound. We do that with a lot of the stuff that we do. Everything we've done has been that way, where they blend the sound in just to get the right sound tone that we want. Chasing Death is about people chasing death, living in a fast lane, and just doing things that will might, you know, bring death a little quicker than they should be. You know what I mean? So, you know, and that was the gist of that song for me.
I'm losing friends to addictions. I'm losing friends to, you know, a lot of things you don't expect, and then when it starts happening, it pisses you off. And it was kind of me venting about it. I lost my guitar tech, what's it been, 3 years now? A good 8-9 year guitar tech, and I didn't think I'd ever need another guitar tech. He was my guy. And out of the blue, died in his sleep. And that's basically what Chasing Death is about. It's talking about it. I'm sure people are in my shoes that have that same kind of thing, you know. Some of your friends, you know they need help. Some of them you don't. Some of them you try to give them help. Some of them don't want it. And that's it. That's just part of life. And I think that song kind of sums it up.
Repentless is the same thing. It was like just doing it and not giving a shit.
That one is pretty much my Jeff tribute. I call it the Hannum Anthem. It's my perspective of Jeff's perspective. It's what I think. If Jeff wrote a song for himself, Repentless.
Every fucking day, I hate the life, hate the faith, hate the fucking scene. Picking match and ego, fuck the vanity. And cafeteria, I don't want anything from you. Feeding up a tolerance is all you fucking do. No looking back, no regret, no apology. What you get is what you see. Live fast. I'm high.
You know, for my solos on the new record, you know, to keep it simple, you know, I just used my Kemper preamp. You know, I have I have a few of them, I have the one that looks like a little space age toaster, a little carry bag. And so I was able to just get on a plane and fly to LA with my tone in hand, basically, with Slayer obviously live, it's all about Marshalls and lots of them. But, this was just simple, and I had my Marshall profiled into it anyway. And I just used it and some ESP LTDs because my signature model was far from ready at the time anyway. And so they just I didn't even bring my own guitar. They brought a couple down, and I just went in and just kind of went for it. And it was super cool, just went in and everybody just let me do my own thing. And, I'd do like 20 takes or something, and Tom would tell me, I thought the first one was killer. And I guess I'm on the right path then.
I tried to think what the fans would like if the fans could pick out how it went down. And in my opinion, I think fans would be cool with Holt participating on leads, since a lot of this stuff was written.
We're killing ourselves a little more every day!
It seemed like the right way to go about introducing Holt as a guitar player on a Slayer record.
When the whole issue came up with finding someone to sit in for Jeff, my take on that whole issue with that was, well, fuck, let's just stop. We'll stop and we'll wait. We'll wait for Jeff to get better. His whole arm and stuff. That's where I was at. And then when there's names were started flying around, I didn't want any of that. So someone brought up Gary, and I was like, my ears perked up because Gary's a good friend. If this is going to happen, let's ask Gary. See how he feels about doing something like this if he wants to. And because that's the only person in my eyes that could do it. Because we were good friends with these guys, especially and then him and Jeff were good friends. So, and Gary said, yeah, you could do it. And Gary's fucking an amazing guitar player.
Holt was my first choice from day one, so I'd be a hypocritical retard if I turned the table and said, no, this isn't the guy. He is the guy.
Well, I was out on tour, with Exodus on the 70,000 Tons of Metal cruise, the inaugural one. And Kerry texted a friend of ours, Bob Tyrell, and I guess he just didn't want to bother me while I was playing. And Bob says, Kerry said, call him when you get to shore. And I called him, and he told me what was going on. And, and at that time, I actually was really adamant about wanting to take like most of a year off with Exodus. I just wanted to write and stay off the road for a bit and work on music and relax, because Exodus had been going nonstop for a long time, since like 2003. But since I did have the time available, I said, sure, we're all super good old friends, and I'm more than happy to help you out. I thought it was going to be like, a couple of tours or something.
It was more up to Gary. It's more, you kind of leave it up to him. It's like, dude, you okay with doing this? Because he's got Exodus. He's got that's his growing kid right now. He's got 30 years of Exodus. So, it's a full-grown adult now. So that's his baby, so we left it up to him, and he's I think he likes it because it's changed his life a little bit. So, he deserves it. He's been around for a long time doing what he's doing, and I think this is good for him. I'm very happy for him. I'm glad that he's able to do what he's doing, and I'm glad that we can help him do what he's doing.
The funny thing about it is I love playing with Gary. You know, I mean, Gary's like, I remember when I first joined Exodus, and you know, I never really played with Gary before. I remember getting into a room with him, and when he started firing his amplifier and just playing riffs, I was like, this guy's badass. You know, he's just heavy.
I was a big Holt admirer. You know, years past, I would talk in the guitar magazines about him being like the Glenn Tipton of our generation, because he gets overlooked. And Tipton got overlooked. No matter how much you like Priest or anything, people don't resonate towards Glenn Tipton. And Glenn Tipton did stuff before anybody did. And he is just, you know, a phenomenal guitar player and tasty and good as they come. And that's how I looked at Holt years ago. And he's been my friend for 25, 30 years. So, of course it fit. You know, he's our age. He's as relevant in his band as, you know, we are in ours. So the just a perfect fit. You know, it's like a slam dunk.
You know, Gary fits perfectly because he's original. He's OG. He was there in the beginning of all this genre. It's basically family, and that's the best way to put it. You know, it's like, you know, with Kerry and Tom, it's family, and Gary fits right in. He's family.
But it just continued, and you know, with Jeff's, you know, struggles at the time to regain, you know, muscle memory and all that, you know, to get back to playing this kind of brutally demanding stuff, it just continued and continued. But you know, it's like, you know, no one more so than me wanted to see Jeff come back. You know, it's like, I'm perfectly happy, you know, in my life, and always have been, you know, comfortable in my own skin, and at the same time, it was, once again, to use the word liberating, it was awesome to go out and play someone else's music for a change, you know, play songs that are like some of my favorites from my thrash metal infancy, you know, playing Angel of Death, you know, it doesn't suck, it's fun, you know, it's some of the greatest riffs ever written. And, you know, it just continued, and then tragically with Jeff's passing, you know, it's like, seems to like be something that's going to continue into the foreseeable future, certainly. I just hope I did Jeff proud. That's all. That's the only thing I really care about. You know, making the guys in the band happy and hoping that Jeff would smile and go, "Fuck yeah!" That's some of the stuff I put down.
When the Stillness Comes, obviously a murder type song about a serial killer.
That was my first attempt at spooky, because Jeff always wrote the spooky music. And I was pleasantly surprised. It came out good and spooky. I love that tune.
Blood was like paste on the walls. Bodies laid lifeless like dolls. A moment that felt like days. Life extinguished in a rage. So nauseous I don't realize. Incessantly eating the flies. In a moment of visceral haze. The last thing you see on my grave. The last thing you see on my eyes.
And the lyrics came another time in Europe. There's so much downtime, and it's hard hard to convey because there's so much downtime and you're so fucking busy.
Ever abstain. Blood falls from the ceiling like rain. Patiently I unleash my violence, ingesting the sweet sound of your silence. In darkness, this feeling I love, to be covered in blood from above.
Like this one, it was on the festival runs in Europe, and when we get booked on those, it's like 8 darts. Throw them all at the dartboard, which is a map. Say, okay, we're gonna start here. The farthest one away from that's over here, so you're gonna go there next. Then you're gonna go back up this way. Then you're gonna be over here for an afternoon show. And just the travel and everything is just nightmarish. So there was this one time we stayed in a town, I can't remember what country we were in, but we had to drive like 3 hours to get to the venue site in vans. You know, nothing comfortable. It's just, here we are, you know, and we're not drinkers before we play, so we're pretty much in hell. Then I just had my phone out and I'm just writing down lyrics. And 90% of that became When the Stillness Comes.
A serial killer type thing.
It's funny how I take advantage of my time, but yeah, that's a story for that one.
We'd have days off on tour, and he's sitting in his hotel room, you know, writing music or writing lyrics, or even sitting backstage working on riffs. You know, so I saw it firsthand. You know, the amount of effort he put into this, and it shows in the product.
Take Control, I finished that song early because it's one of my favorite musical tunes, and I wanted it to be, I knew what I wanted it to be. I didn't know what I wanted to say, but I knew what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be strong, powerful, and that one is another song that'll be a gigantic live tune.
Inject the system with something new, such a terror to lead the view. Why call it land of the free? Political banter, if you ask me, the deal's the problem. The question is how, with imminent conflict, the answer stops now. I can say, we're not the answer to the ones that came here to stay. We're just the ones that won't go away. We will take control of this disaster called society. I despise the mediocrity, so now I'm going to introduce such a terror that's on the loose.
We have a lot of leftover material this time, which we don't usually, so I think we're halfway towards a next record, which is like songs falling out of my pocket, so to speak, because fucking Slayer never has extra shit. Nothing has lyrics, but I think we recorded 5 or 6 other ones with all strings, and they're essentially done unless lyrics make them change. But, you know, we're set up to tour 3 years for sure. If it gets slow in 2.5, then maybe we address that record and get one out sooner.
It's still Slayer, you know what I mean? It's like, we're going to tour the world, we're going to tour behind this record, we're going to deliver the same energy and everything that Slayer fans have come to love from the band, they're going to get.
We're gonna take it out to the masses and shove it down their throats. You know, the album's killer. Kerry did a remarkable job.
I am the propaganda war machine, the face of fury and insanity. So when society is gone astray, I'll be the one to pave the way. They'll never fuck with my reality, 'cause this right here to me is unity. When all is done, we'll have all the show. A domination that we'll never know. We will take control.
Shit. what's in store for Slayer, man, it's already started. I mean, the record isn't even out yet, and it's already started. It started with this photo shoot. We're gonna do an interview in New York next week, Monday and Tuesday. We'll be in New York. So it's already started, and they've already got the year planned next year, and so, you know, then sacrificed another 5 years of my fucking life. But I guess that's what happens when you sell your soul.